Welcome to CC, the Classic Car Show. In this episode, we talk to some experts in the art of classic car restoration. We get behind the wheel of a very sleek and sporty open-top roadster from a classic English marque. Also on the show, we take a closer look at an unusual collection of yesteryear's motoring history and the car made famous by a British spy. Plus a taste of the future with some classics of tomorrow. And we test your classic car memory in Know Your Chrome. So put down your remote control and grab the wheel for another episode of CC Classic Cars. If you're thinking of purchasing and restoring a classic to its former glory, don't. The last thing you want to do is find yourself throwing cash down a never-ending money pit. Your local car restorers should always be your first pit stop, as they can give you the expert advice you'll need to turn your dream car into a reality.
I'm Peter Axford. This is my business, Eurosport Automotive. We've been running probably since the early 80s, but I've had it since 91, and we've turned it into an interesting business. It's a lot of fun to come to work. We specialise, or bread and butter really, is servicing modern European cars, but the truly fun side of the business is making old cars, usually Alfa Romeos, make them look better and go faster for all sorts of requirements, from historic racing to concours, super sprinting, or just generally having more fun on the road.
According to Peter, if you're looking to buy an old car to restore, the most important thing to look for is the quality of the body. The body is the part that can cost you the most money, and done properly will last you the longest. If you're thinking of building a car for the track, it's even more critical that the body and chassis are straight and true, if you want it to handle well on those tight bends. The mechanical side is also expensive, but it will also last a very long time with minimal maintenance if done well. Finally, make sure you don't underestimate the budget. Whatever you think it's going to cost, you might as well double it.
If you're thinking of buying an old car, historic car, classic car for restoration, you should speak to your mechanic, get him to inspect the car to start with, determine what the car is worth, what its prospects are for long-term ownership and restoration, because they have a lot of pitfalls. There are certain parts of it that will cost you a lot more money than others. The body usually is the bit that hurts most of all. From there, if it is a suitable candidate, then he could advise you on the steps taken, both the body, panel, paint, interior, then on to the engine, gearbox, suspension, and down to the minor details like even colours and wheels, based on his experience in what really works in the car that you're considering buying.
Obviously, many classic car lovers have a predetermined idea of the type of car they would like to own. But beware, as some cars are much easier and therefore cheaper to restore than others.
Older British cars are quite easy to do, MGs in particular, because of the vast array of parts available worldwide at quite reasonable prices. Alfa Romeos are also now well served. The older 105 series cars are very well served by the aftermarket when it comes to good quality parts, both for standard builds and for modified cars. I'm sure there's a wonderful market out there for supply of all sorts of bits for American cars and Australian cars. European cars and the versions of, say, different types of Ferraris, Maseratis, probably not so well served, a bit more specialised, but ultimately any old car is something that can be restored given enough time and enough money.
Eurosport Automotive tends to specialise as restorers and builders of classic or historic Alfa Romeo race and road cars. The older Alfa Romeos lend themselves well to historic car racing or club motorsport. They're well served with great components, wheels, body panels and go-fast bits such as camshafts and Weber carbs, so it's easy to source parts.
We're more than capable and more than happy to deal with other brands of cars, and in fact there are some in the workshop at the moment that are not Alfas, but it just seems to be that we've evolved as a fairly major player in the field of older Alfa Romeos. Currently underway we have 3 cars for historic sports cars under construction in the workshop. We have not yet been asked to do anything for other brands in those categories, but we've dabbled with a couple of other brands in tarmac rally cars, for instance, which have been quite successful. So here we have an Alfa Romeo Montreal V8 engine car. It's in the beginning of its procedure here. It's come from the paint shop, all the bodywork's been sorted, roll cage fitted, and we're now at the stage where we're starting to assemble the interior, and from there we'll work our way through all the other components, and it'll become once again a historic racing.
Eurosport have a number of cars other than Alfas currently in their workshop, including a stunning MGA, which is nearing the completion of a full restoration.
And here we have an MGA 1600, 1959. It came to us a couple of years ago. It was burgundy, pretty tired in every respect. And it's had chassis done, body, full body off paint job, lots of panels replaced or parts repaired. So interior, full new wiring loom, new engine, brakes, suspension, new chrome wire wheels. We're probably getting fairly close to completion on this car. There's probably still a number of hours to go, but we're getting very close. We're much closer now than we were 2 years ago when it came to us.
So, the golden rule, if you're going to buy a classic car for either road or to build as a racing car in particular, is to make sure you get somebody that's qualified to look at it before you take that first step.
And then you need to have a plan and need to have in your head an idea of what you want to get from the car, so that the person building it, in our case, so that we know exactly what you want. Now, the advice we can give you is based on our experience, not only in building the cars but in driving them. It is not just theory, it is proven practice, and it works.
Here's a challenge for all you classic car fans. Know Your Chrome gives you a peek at some close-ups of classic chrome. Look at the shapes. Do you recognise the lines? Can you tell which car sports this shiny styling? It's too early for clues, but we can tell you it's a car, it's a classic, and it's very, very cool. Look closely, and we'll give you more hints later in the show. Next on CC, the Classic Car Show. A collection of classic triumphs and some very far-out classics of tomorrow. One of the most coveted of classic cars, and usually the most collectible, are classic one-of-a-kinds. These cars often sell for astronomical prices if they have been looked after or restored. The most common of the single-build cars are generally prototype, more commonly referred to today as concept cars. So what could be more likely to become a classic of tomorrow than a modern concept car? Just take a look at this selection of impressive car designs from some of the world's most coveted classic car brands. This is the Porsche 918 Spider, a spectacular concept vehicle that really looks to the future, promising a much more environmental approach to sports motoring with both an economical V8 engine and 2 electric motors. They call it a high-performance hybrid. Can the future have both speed, style and a small carbon footprint? We're not sure. But what we do know is the design team at Porsche are looking to push the boundaries of accepted car design to achieve the seemingly unachievable. This concept car would absolutely be a classic of tomorrow. It just needs to be built. Yes, that's right. Thanks to modern design technology, this classic of tomorrow isn't even a real car yet, but we hope it will be. What is a real classic of tomorrow is this BMW prototype, a concept vehicle which is guaranteed to reach classic status. Developed by BMW to explore the possibilities of hybrid motoring and performance, this is a one-only car that has had millions invested into its creation. If it does go into production in some form, don't worry, you won't need the laptop to drive it. The wonderful lines and sporty looks are a real winner. And yes, it's a real vehicle, which means it may one day end up in the hands of a classic car collector. More likely though, this impressive machine will find its way into a museum somewhere, as concept cars are not cast aside as flippantly as in the past. If you prefer your classics of tomorrow to be really out there, then the Jaguar CX-75 will suit, with its twin jet turbines that also charge the batteries to run the 4 electric motors and push the car to speeds in excess of 330 kilometers an hour. With some very fine design lines in the grand tradition of the Jaguar of the past. Again, we are sorry to say you are looking at an excellent animated rendering of the car. But there is one out there that has done the car show rounds. Good news is, this classic of tomorrow is going into production, albeit without the jet engines. And you could be one of the lucky 250 shoppers to own this very cool classic of tomorrow. So, if you are a very patient car collector and a bit of a super sleuth, you can go to car shows now and pick yourself a classic of tomorrow. Keep track of its whereabouts for the next 40 or so years, and when it becomes available for sale, hope you've got the funds to pick yourself up a one-of-a-kind classic car. Good luck! British motor manufacturing was once a world leader, with vehicles like Jaguar, Aston, MG and Lotus dominating the sports car scene. The period from the late 50s to the mid-70s are considered the heyday of English cars, and one of those classics to come from that era is the Aston Martin DBS. Built in the United Kingdom from 1967 to 1972. The DBS was the car that James Bond drove in the film On Her Majesty's Secret Service, considered one of the worst James Bond films made, Unfortunately for Aston Martin, the same cannot be said for their successful Grand Tourer two-door sports coupe. This red beast is the Aston Martin DBS, essentially the same vehicle as the DB6, but it had a longer wheelbase to accommodate full-size seats in the rear for extra passenger comfort. With a straight 6 4-litre power plant and the choice of automatic or a 5-speed manual transmission, the DBS had plenty of get up and go, with an advertised 325 brake horsepower. Initially designed as a successor to the DB6, the DBS was essentially the same car in everything but size, so the two models ran concurrently. And although we associate Aston Martins with James Bond and gadgets, the DBS in the film was actually pretty much gadget-free. The car was also used in the TV series The Persuaders and driven by Roger Moore, who it seems was destined to be associated with sports coupes, as he helped the Volvo P1800 become an instant classic in The Saint, before becoming James Bond himself. So how well did you go with your first peek? How well did you know your chrome? Here's a quick update. Did you guess it right away, or are you still pondering? Take a look at these shots. We're showing you a little more of the car here, so you should be able to pick it. The answer is coming soon. Next on CC, Classic Cars, a unique roadster for the whole family, and we reveal the Know Your Chrome mystery car. When Tim Carrick and his family were looking for a classic car to drive on weekends for fun family outings, they made a unique choice. Rather than a large rambling classic, they chose a little English roadster with back seats. This is an Aston Healey 3000 Mark II, known to enthusiasts as the Big Healey. The 3000 has a powerful 6-cylinder engine with triple carburetors and is a mix of 2-seater roadster and 4-seater family car.
The rare thing with this particular Healey, it's the first time they really introduced the 2 rear seats, so you can take passengers, but you really want to be kids in the back. There's not much room for adults. If there's an adult in there, they actually catch the bugs as they go over the windscreen. The triple carbies, they made this particular model only for about a year and a half, and then they went back to the twin carbies because too many people were having trouble to tune them. But if you can tune one of them, you can tune all 3.
Labelled the BT7 by Aston Healey, this example rolled off the production line in 1962 and is a very sought-after car, as it was the first model released with rear seats. This car itself originally came from California and was then converted back to right-hand drive. Aston Healey was a joint venture between Aston, a division of the British Motor Corporation, and the Donald Healey Motor Company, a renowned and respected car design firm. A real British effort, the Aston Healey 3000s were assembled by BMC in their Aston production facility. The bodywork for the cars was produced by Jensen Motors, so 2 classic car manufacturers in their own right had considerable input into Aston Healey's. With the Aston power plant giving the 3000 some real get up and go, it was a very successful racing car.
The engine's a very big engine. It's basically what they call a truck motor. It's got very big pistons in it. They're very torquey. They actually can pull up hills very easily in top gear or anything like that. So it's not like you have to work it hard through the gearbox. You know, you can take off in second gear from the lights if you choose to, but it's a very strong and very powerful motor.
This car is exactly as it would have come out of the showroom. It's an original car. There have been no customisations, and the current owners like it that way. Many people do change the Aston Healeys. The most common addition is bigger wheels, as it adds more road holding to the car's performance.
And the thing with the Healey is the exhaust is under the passenger seat, so when my wife gets in it, she says it's lovely because we don't need a heater. It actually warms her up and she stays nice and toasty.
So how well did you know your chrome? If If you said it was a 1968 Corvette Stingray, you'd be right. Built by Chevrolet, the Corvette Stingray was groundbreaking in its styling and performance. One of the most recognisable muscle cars in history. The Corvette Stingray was a true evolution of American sports cars, a break from the European-influenced two-seaters to a true American classic. Classic cars are cool. There's no doubting it. But they are as different as we are. And some you love, some you hate. Like this classic Jaguar XK120, once the fastest production car in the world. Or this groovy Citroen with its own distinct and peculiar style. Of course, you don't have to be rich to drive a classic. You just have to love classic cars.